Playboy Club in New York, we played Boston Symphony, Tanglewood. We went out and played gigs, and we'd drive all night. We'd rent a big motorhome and drive all night back to just make it in time for the next symphony rehearsal. And we were featured artists with the symphony, and we had just a heck of a good time. And they were all our own pieces. And there's a lot of pieces I could play, but I've chosen, I guess it's the last, probably the last piece on the second record that we make, and it's called Liberated Woman.
That's track 9. Liberated women taking control of the situation. Just because we have so much more to cover. But these 2 CDs that this group made are actually up on YouTube. I looked them up yesterday when I was uploading some of Dave's solo works, which you can find now on YouTube if you search Arthur David Crable. His written Serenade, Mozart Concerti. But back to question number 7. The name of this rock band was called 1. Symphonic Metamorphosis. 2. Gene Listerine and his minty freshly pipes. 3. The Symphomaniacs. 4. Genghis Bobby. Anybody? Number 1 is correct. Symphonic Metamorphosis. Would you like to make any comments about the other? It was also famous for pouring Listerine down a lead pipe. I don't know how many of you are aware of that. Yeah.
Well, the perpetrator of this gag, you know, I've had some great gags played on me as well as I've played many practical jokes on other people, but the person responsible is sitting right here, Robert Ward, and he's crossing his legs and he's taking credit for this whole thing. I had a thing that I did before concerts, especially before a tough concert. I'd pour Listerine in the horn. And the Listerine seemed to make the horn play crisper and better. Our theory is that the alcohol in the Listerine took care of the drops of condensation that were forming in the horn, so the horn spoke better. I'm thoroughly convinced. Plus the plus factor of the sanitary factor of killing the bacteria that's in the horn. The trumpet section always complained because the Listerine fumes would float back into the trumpet section. Well, one day I went to my mailbox at the hall, and I had a letter from the Listerine company, and from their legal department, disavowing any sort, covering themselves for any possible damage to my instrument, and it went on and on. It was very clever, and I was totally mystified. Later on, I found out that my friend Bob put them up to them, wrote them with my name, telling them that I was using Listerine for this purpose, and they were covering their bases.
Okay, question number 8. Dave Crable played some Great Britain in his career. his personal favorite was with 1. Sarah Mead, 2. Ben Irvis, 3. Hans Arshwedi, and 4. Chicky Lipschitz.
You know, I don't know where you came from, but I don't know any of those people.
I think it was Neil Mackey. And I should say none of the above. And Neil Mackey is on the YouTube, that recording with him.
Do we have to skip ahead? We're running out of time.
I think if you've got a story, we'll hear it.
Well, I think we can't go ahead without telling Fiedler's stories. Now, Arthur Fiedler came to the Chicago Symphony when I was first starting there. And of course, Philip Farkas never played these kinds of pops concerts, so I played them. And Fiedler and I developed a relationship, and that relationship started, it was kind of an informal audition for me. The Chicago Symphony had a program called Great Music from Chicago, televised live from the Tribune Tower. So we'd go up to the Tribune Tower and play these concerts. Well, Fiedler, Farkas said, no, you play it. You play it. And I said, I don't want to play it. He said, all right. He says, no, you have to play it. He says, I'll be downstairs in the bar watching it on the TV. Okay. So we had the rehearsal. First piece of it is Oberon. So I start out. Fiedler gives me a cue. I start out. He goes, nah. He had this terrible voice. Nah, you're flat. Yeah, play it again. So he da-da-da. He says, no, you're flat, play it again. I go, da-da-da. So, okay. So we get to the concert. Lights are up, cameras are on. He gives me the cue. I start, I go, dee-da-do, and I just laid it right in there. And I look up and he's going, and it made me so mad, you know. I said, from then on, it was war with Fiedler. All right, so after the concert, well, let's see, what else was on that program? No, that was the program I did with Stokowski on that same series, Beethoven Second. But I went downstairs and I said to Farkas, I said, did you see what he was doing there? And he said, see what? He said, the camera was on you, kid, you look great. Oh, God. And you know, in that same program, I remember playing a Beethoven Second with, I think it was Stokowski. Anyway, the second movement, you know, it's always been scary. And I was just trying to form a way of playing those slurs. And so I remember getting to that place and having a fork in the road, choosing, I had to make a choice. Either I do it my old way and just squeeze it and hope I get it, or I do it the new way that I sort of figured out where I just slur and connect and let it pop out. And I remember that passage coming toward me and vacillating both ways between, and finally I was able to give it a try the other way, because I figured my chances were about 50-50 either way, and it came out. And really that was, for me, it changed my whole life at that point. It was the way I started to play after that. But anyway, going on, and I know we're running out of time, but the Swore with Fiedler, it went on. I remember one story that we had done a concert with Fiedler for the 4-H people, I guess it was, on a Monday night. And the sponsors always put flowers all over the stage when we played for the 4-H people. And they had moved all these flowers backstage. And for the next Tuesday morning, it was a Reiner rehearsal. And Reiner had a little dressing room. And he'd stand in this dressing room with those half-moon glasses looking like Bela Lugosi, holding his baton and just staring everybody down as we came up the stairs to go on stage. And I'm coming up the stairs, and it right in front of me was Dick Lottridge, who was the contrabassoon player. And Dick, I don't know if any of you know Dick Lottridge, he's one of these happy, you know, go-lucky guys, you know, and he's like full of joy, and he's walking up the stairs, and he, of course with contra, you don't have to worry too much, nobody's going to get you. So, he's walking up the stairs, he looks over at Reiner, he says, to Reiner, he says, "Doctor, nice of them to leave these flowers for us here, Dr. Reiner." And Reiner looks at him and he says, "Yes, those are for your funeral." Anyway, going ahead, I turn up in Detroit, and the first Pops concert we have with Fiedler, he walks out on stage, he's looking around the orchestra. He was a very smart guy, and he's looking around, and he spots me. He looks at me and says, "What are you doing here?" Okay, well, we had this war, and it sort of came to a conclusion. I ended up playing concertos with him, but it ended up, it sort of came to a tolerable point when every year he'd play this thing called the Serviceman's Medley. And we got really sick of the Serviceman's Medley. So I decided I'd make some paper airplanes. And I made a couple of paper airplanes in here. So when we got, this was a Pops concert, when we got to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, I think the airplanes, throw them out. They're flying out over the orchestra like that. And everybody, oh, that's a good idea. Next year he comes, Serviceman's Medley. All my friends, paper airplanes, clearly. Under the chair everywhere, you know, so hardly anybody was left playing. And this white cloud was all over the place. All right. So what are we going to do next year? We look, Serviceman's Medley again. Okay. I made this paper airplane. It was about this long. And I designed that thing so it flew perfectly straight. I tested it out. So we got to Serviceman's, da-da-da, huge cloud of paper airplanes. They all settled down like this. And I stood up and I aimed that paper airplane right at Fiedler. And that thing flew right at him, and it flew right by him like this. And you know, he was always a little drunk when he was conducting it. And his mouth dropped open. Right by his head. That's the last time he ever played Serviceman's. Okay, listen, we're running out of time. Dingus Barbie is getting ready. Do we have a last?
I want to hear the story about Ozawa.
Ozawa? Oh, yeah. Okay, just a quick Ozawa story. Probably the most frightening moment I ever had with Ozawa was at a dress rehearsal. And at that time, early on, I was co-principal in San Francisco, and my other principal was playing Fantastic Symphony. And the percussion section said, "Hey, we need a guy, come back and play the bells." Oh, great, I always wanted to do that, you know. So I go back there, it's open dress rehearsal, and we played Fantastic Symphony. I got a new respect for percussion players because I was never so scared that I missed the bell or that I played at the right time in the Fantastic Symphony. But Ozawa, well, oh God, it's hard to go on, but Ozawa, we played the Haydn 51, it's the Symphony High B flat, and there's a high B flat, you know, fourth above high C. Anyway, Ozawa came to me and he says, "Can you play that?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so." He said, "Well, let me hear it." I said, "Okay." Well, I had figured out how to play it. I couldn't play it, it was too high for me, so I sang it. So I started on high C. Oh yeah, very good. And I sang that high B flat for every single performance that nobody ever knew. It saved my life, I'll tell you. But okay, I'll quit with one last Ozawa story. We're playing a big concert in Tokyo, and Ozawa was doing, we were doing Rebel, Daphnis, and Chloe. And both suites, the first and the second. And they had a Japanese chorus, and it was a big deal, televised nationally. Everybody was watching this, and we're playing. And then the next morning we have a rehearsal. And Seiji, you know, had this accent. We have a rehearsal, we're all sitting there like this. And Seiji comes on and he says, great concert. He says, you